Good morning, everybody, and welcome if you are new here. My name is Alex Perkins, and my channel is everything to do with motherhood and country living. So today is a little bit more on the country living side as we are getting our brooder box ready, and I'm so excited about it. We are supposed to be picking up our chickens tomorrow. So my next video will be us bringing the chickens home and putting them in the brooder box. So if that's something you would be interested in, you might want to hit that subscribe button and you'll be notified next time I upload, and you'll get to see the baby chicks come home and grow and everything. I'll continually do updates and whatnot on them, so maybe I'll do a live with them one day, but we'll see. Mom. This is an old horse trough that we have. This was actually Chris's grandfather's when he was on an acreage with horses, and he gave it to us and we used it for a couple years, and then we moved to the place we're in now, and it has an automatic waterer, so we really don't have a whole lot of use for this. We actually let a friend borrow it, and you know, winters happened, it got moved around, and unfortunately it's got a little bit of a crack here in the bottom, and so it's kind of useless now. So I thought, what better than this to use for a brooding box? It's big. We're getting 21 chicks, and this has lots of space. This is probably more space than you need. I'll put the calculations here somewhere on the screen. That way you know what size brooder box you need for how many chickens you are getting. We are going to do shavings. There is lots of different beddings that you can get, including hemp. Some people use paper towels. Some people use puppy pee pads. We are just sticking with the traditional wood shavings in ours. All right, so we also decided to use these little, this is a little feeder, and then we also have a little waterer. These tops just unscrew. I can actually probably show you here. Just get this set up. All right, so these just unscrew like that, and then you just fill this up, tip this upside down, and then fill it back up like that, and the waterer functions exactly the same. And then there's this little tiny hole. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little hole there, and that's how the water comes out. And if it'll sit kind of at that level, and if it goes below it, it'll let air out and then water into the bowl. So that's how those work. And then we also got, so I don't have the stuff with me right now. I should have grabbed it, sorry. But I have a little toy set for the chickens. For the chicks. I will put a picture on the screen somewhere of these next two items. And so it is a toy set for the chicks, and then it's got like a little xylophone in it, a little chicken swing, which would be more for the coop. And then it's got like vegetable holders or like kitchen scrap holders as well. And I believe it comes with a mirror also. The next one is some electrolytes. They highly recommend using electrolytes, especially for chicks. I mean, I'm sure you could use them for chickens as well and just like keep your chicks nice and hydrated, or your chickens nice and hydrated. But for your chicks, because they have been shipped, it's a high probability that they might be a little bit dehydrated. So they highly recommend an electrolyte supplement in the water for the first little bit, just to help get them back hydrated. When it comes to the brooding box, there are kind of like a few key things you want to make sure you have. One of them is a safe area, and they recommend not having any corners in it, so something rounded, because when there's corners, there is a higher chance of suffocation happening. So whatever chick is on the bottom, kind of in that small corner, everybody else kind of jumps on top of them, and that can create a smothering or suffocation sort of situation. And obviously you want your chicks to live, right? So something rounded is the best thing to get. You need to make the option on bedding. Some people say that shavings aren't the greatest because the little baby chicks can eat the shavings. Shavings is what the store uses that we're buying them from. I think it's probably going to be all right. You obviously want food and water. you need to be cleaning and checking the water and food multiple times a day, because baby chicks don't really understand, and so they flick a whole bunch of shavings or whatever bedding you have into the food and the water, so you want to make sure that's clear so that they're not eating it accidentally as well. The next thing you need, which is absolutely vital, is a heat source of some sort. So I have seen a couple different versions. You could do a heat lamp, you could do a heat plate, and then they also have, which isn't necessarily for a brooding box, but for coops, is actually really cool. It's like a plate. So it's like a heat plate, puts out just like a little bit, because they don't really recommend in our climate to heat your chicken coop, because if they go where it's not heated, or if it's a nice enough winter day outside and you let your chickens outside and they walk outside and they come back into the hot, that constant hot and cold can cause the chickens pneumonia. So they don't really recommend heating your chicken coop unless you're going to keep them inside the whole time, which I also don't think is super great. Ours will be let out when it's nice enough outside. So that idea behind the heat plate is it just puts off just a little bit of heat so they can warm up. Our chicken coop is insulated where we live. It is absolutely a necessity. In warmer climates, you probably wouldn't need to insulate it, but our winters here can get pretty cold, so it needs to be insulated. And then that sort of just provides like just a little bit of warm up that they can do. They can sort of just kind of cozy up to it and heat themselves up if they need to. Like I said, that's more for the coop than the brooding box. I went away on vacation. I don't know if any of you saw any of those vlogs. I can link the playlist up here for you. My husband actually ended up buying 4 chicks from the store while I was gone, so I came home to a surprise 4 little chicks. They were a little bit older, but so they currently just have a heat lamp right now. But for the 21 chickens that we are getting tomorrow, we are doing a heat plate. When I go to town tomorrow, I'm going to get the heat plate. So I think both options are fine. One thing I really read was that chicks like the daylight or light in general during the day, and then obviously at nighttime it's fine that it's dark. But if you're going to use a heat plate, make sure they're somewhere where there's enough light. Currently, the 4 that we have are in the shop. We will be moving them into the barn, but they're in the shop, so they have a heat lamp because during the day the lights are off in the shop, and so it's pretty dark in there. So they have a heat lamp, but for this next 21 chickens, I'm going to do a heat plate. So I'm going to pick that up tomorrow. I will link it. Everything that I'm talking about will be linked in the description below. So go ahead and check those out if you're interested in any of the things I have mentioned. Okay, enough yammering on. Let's get some shavings in the brooder box. Bag of shavings here. And I'm just going to sort of dump some in. Okay, I'm going to start with that. Mom. And then I'm just going to sort of spread it out a little bit. All right, so we're just going to put a little bit more over here. So this is what we're working with here. It's nice and bedded. I'm actually debating changing these out, but I'll probably kind of stick them right in the middle, kind of like this. And I'm actually going to prop them up a little bit. I don't have the pieces of wood here that I'm looking to use. They make less of a mess if you prop it up just a tiny bit. Like what I just showed you was probably a little bit too much. That way they can't kick so much up into their food. These are pretty small. Chris got the other chicks, which I'll show you here in a second. He got a lot bigger ones, and I think that's what I'm going to put in here. I will also link those ones as well. But I think I'm going to move these ones into the smaller brooding box that we have for the 4 chicks, just because there's not as many of them and they don't have as much space as this. He did not set this up. This wasn't ready to go. I had to wash this down and wipe it and clean it and everything. So he just has them in a Rubbermaid tote, which I will show you in a moment. We will also have the heat plate either on this end or that end. And then we'll have their toys set up for them as well. I'll show you the other baby chicks right now, and I'll show you the bigger feeder and waterer that I'm probably going to swap out. All right, so these are the 4 older baby chicks. 2 of them are the Baird Plymouth Rock, and then the other two Chris was unsure of. They were in a bin that had two different labels on them. So they're either the Rhode Island Red or I can't remember what he said the other one was. But anyway, so this is the feeder that we have. As you can see, I haven't cleaned it out today, so there's some shavings in it, and this water needs to be replaced desperately, but these are so much bigger than the other ones. And then Chris actually just built this little perch. I showed him a picture of one that I was going to order, but he's like, oh, I could probably make that, and he made it super easy. If you have a handy husband, he might be able to make this for you. But if not, the one I was looking at, it's on Amazon. I'll also link that down below. I think it was only 20 bucks and it had like a little mirror on this side. But they use it actually. It's pretty cute to see them roost on it. But yeah, these are the girls. As you can see, they don't have even close to the same amount of space as in the other one. So I think I'm going to switch out this waterer and this feeder. That way they have a little bit more space in there as they are getting quite big. I think they're about 2.5 or 3 weeks old now with how much feathers they have going on. But man, do they grow fast. And we also have to put something on the top here when we leave because they are starting to flap their little wingies. We've had 2 almost escape. So we have to keep stuff on top of it to make sure that they don't get out. So we got the Brooder Box set up in the tack room in the barn. So this is the updated version. And right after I'm done taking this video, we're going to be going to get the chicks. So if you want to see us bring the chicks home, stay tuned for the next video. All right, so this is what we got going on here. We got their little xylophone. I need to try and mount it a little bit differently, but I think for now it's probably all right. And then they got a little swing there. And their food and water, and then their Brooder heater plate. So I have the back down, it's hard to tell on camera, but the back is down a little bit further than the front. So if they're colder, they can go to the back, and if they're warmer, they can stay up front, and then it won't be as warm. I also got them some black soldier fly larvae poultry treats. So we'll see how they like those, and I'll have those linked down below as well. All right, so here is a look into the older chicks Brooder box. It looks so much better now with the smaller waterer and feeder. They have a bit more space, so I think this will work out really, really good for them. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you learned something from it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.